We've got a new mayor in the city of Fort Collins, Colorado. Mayor Emily Francis. She is our pro tem right now and going to be transitioning into the mayor role in 2026. So shout out to Emily. Congratulations. But we are going to jump into Fort Collins in 15 minutes. We come to you weekly, discuss things that are happening in Fort Collins, things to do as well, and then city council, either work session or city council reviews. Starting off, downtown Fort Collins, super interesting. I mean, it has changed over the years pretty dramatically. There were 3 storefronts that were purchased for $1.6 million last year that housed Cazzola's Pizza, kind of an art place, and they will be refacaded, re-tenanted moving forward. And just all of downtown, really, if there's any kind of blemish, seems to get eaten up, and a new vibrant opportunity takes its place, like the Lyric, which, I'm not saying the Lyric itself was a bad operation. It just was a little bit of a rundown building. They moved to a different location, built a state-of-the-art facility. Bohemian Foundation bought their pizza slice of a building for, I think it was like $2 million, and they are building currently. So downtown, Old Town Fort Collins, clearly will now and forevermore be our kind of heart and soul of Fort Collins, and just more and more people want to make sure that it stays beautiful. If you missed the lighting ceremony this last Friday, which we did, we were on a team retreat out in Manitou Springs, but it got lit up this last Friday and will stay lit every evening until Valentine's Day in 2026. Go explore downtown Fort Collins. It is a Hallmark postcard. One thing that's it's interesting. There's a lot of water rights, and I don't know much about water rights, but water rights are very highly desired. A lot of water rights are owned by farmers and agriculture. In fact, from my understanding, about 80% of our water is owned and used by agriculture in northern Colorado, and only 20% is used by residential. And so when people want to do developments or they need water, there will be a purchase of a farmland, and it will become dry crops that are grown there, and the water rights will be sold off. And this just happened in kind of the Alt area. Weld County RE9 just was able to purchase a 145-acre site that does not come with water rights for a potential future school site. It just kind of talks to you about the growth of Northeast Colorado, which is kind of, Weld County still, Logan, Washington County, all of those kind of areas. Alt still, Larimer County still going to grow as well, but there is demand for a new school that Weld County RE9 has kind of earmarked that land for in the future. But the water was sold off probably to some developers. It's dry land now and will be that way for the next 3 to 4 years until they decide what they want to do with that property. Doug's Diner. I'm not sure if you've been to Doug's Diner in Fort Collins or Northern Colorado. It is a franchise, so there might be other spots open. I'm not a huge Doug's Diner fan. My dad loves Doug's Diner. It's just kind of, you've got some thick, juicy bacon. Things are pretty much, I think all of them are made from scratch. I am not a huge fan. I think the thing that I liked the most was like kind of the cowboy hash that was pretty tasty. But that being said, it's a franchise now. I think the original owners sold. There is some infighting. The franchisee owed some money to the franchisor, and the franchisor, kind of had some fraud of that sort. So it's just kind of sad to see more than anything, because I remember when they were one restaurant on the southeast side of Fort Collins, kind of new to town. Everyone really liked it, just fresh, yummy, and now they're kind of going through some struggles. So hopefully that all gets sorted out and they can remain open, number one, but stay successful, number two, for those that like breakfast in southeast Fort Collins. Speaking of businesses, Fort Collins Co-op bought the old Beavers Market building off of Mountain and Shields. It's going to double their size. They're going to have more offerings, which I think it's now. Beavers was always very well supported, especially when it was Doug Beaver that ran it. It switched hands. I would have to imagine it was still supported well. Obviously not well enough for them to want to sell, but that's kind of a unique in neighborhood walkable grocery store option. that was local, that the downtown people that live that kind of that area, that's kind of what their, their vibe is. They want to support local, not ride, driving their car. So if they can walk, ride their bikes, go get groceries, a few doors down, they would do that. And I think the co-op will be a very successful operation there, because that's kind of like what it inherently is a membership type of grocery store that you become a member. They then sell at a little bit of a discount to those members, and they are able to support their business that way. And so they kind of keep you in locked shopping there because you're a member. So you get a little bit of a discount, you're supporting all that good stuff. So I'm excited to see the food co-op go there. And I'm also really interested again in that downtown property that is literally right next to Cooper Smith's, the poolside, which is now becoming the poolside again. Great location. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up going there. There was an article in the Colorado that says the misery index, which Colorado football team is struggling the worst. Air Force at 2-6 has the lowest misery rating of 2 out of 10. CSU comes in next at 7 out of, let's see here, at 6 out of 10. No, 7 out of 10. And then Colorado having double-digit losses in the last 2 games are coming in at a 9 out of 10. So they're struggling pretty well. Interesting. If you watch this channel, we work with Colorado State University fans and CU fans. We're not going to get into that. I'm a Colorado State graduate, but I'm interested to know if you are a graduate of CU watching what's going on with Colorado now. Obviously, they had 2 relatively successful years, but Deion Sanders there, huge support for the program in general, but just not a lot of success. So if you're a fan of CU, are you wanting to see him stick around for a while just because of the kind of excitement that is around Colorado football, or would you rather win? I'm not saying that he won't win. I hope that he does. I'm a Deion fan. I think he's there's things that I like there's things that I don't like that he does, but there's definitely things that I think that what he's doing is exciting and fun. Pickleball, the Pickler had a soft opening last week and will do a grand opening. I want to say it's around November 22nd, which is exciting. I am not a pickleball player myself, but if you are, that is a franchise that is very successful. People love being there. First in Fort Collins, but not the last, is my understanding. There might be another one coming. But there's also another one opening up off of Innovation Drive, probably later this year, which there's not much later this year that there's going to be available. And then also Gordon's Restaurant, which is where Bed Bath & Beyond used to be. They're a food supplier, but they are now open to the public. And I have not shopped at or ate at Shamrock Foods, which is a similar operation as Gordon Foods. So if you are if you support that business, let me know. Is it good food? Can you sit down and eat in there? Do you shop, get groceries there? Or how do you use those operations? Because I just never have personally, mostly probably because I forget that it's there. Maybe because I drive by Gordon's all the time, I'll go more, but Shamrock's is kind of pushed behind. All right, let's get into some election results. This was a fun ballot. Can you say that about elections? I don't know. There wasn't a lot of contention, I would say, except for one, the old Hughes battle. And I will say, I have never, not once, put a political sign in my yard, but I put one in there this year. I was yes on 2H, use the multi-use for Hughes Stadium. And, personally, I just think that we've got over 50,000 acres in Larimer County of natural area, 164 acres in prime spot in Fort Collins. I just was like, there could just be a little bit better use. Doesn't need to be dense housing by any means, but maybe just some cooler, more fun, intentional uses that give the community some additional amenities. Because, it's a premium living here. So I would say having those premium amenities is nice. So that was a big win. And I took my ballot, or not my ballot, excuse me, the sign in the yard, and I was able to go and recycle it at the Timberline hard to recycle area. It's actually free right now. So if you do have a yard sign, go the Timberline Recycling Center. They will take it for you. They were going to charge $5, but I think they're doing it for free. At least they did it for me for free. And they give you your kind of corrugated sign, and then you take your scrap metal and recycle that as well. So if you do have a yard sign, go and recycle it. Here we go. Election results. Emily Francis narrowly beat out Trisha, not narrowly, but I mean, it was a good race. Beat out Trisha Canonico, 26,000 votes to 20,000 votes. It was interesting. Our first ranked choice voting. So like the way that like the Colorado and kind of showed it was like round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, until they got a clear winner with more than 50% of the votes. District 1 came in. Chris Conway beat out incumbent Susan Gutowski. District 3, Josh Fudge won, which is the district that I'm in, beat out Steve Urash. District 5, Amy Hoven took it home, beating out Zoelle Lane. Ballot issues. 2A, the community capital improvement tax. This has been, it goes on, and this has, I really kind of actually, I do wish I would have voted differently for the natural areas sales tax extension, which you might be listening to this and be like, man, does Patrick hate natural areas? No, I just like when a bill sunsets, and that's what the community capital improvement project does. Is it sunsets every 10 years, and we have to re-vote it in. Does the city of Fort Collins still want this tax? Very clearly we do, which could be the same thing with the natural area sales tax. I just like the idea of having the option to vote it in or out, depending on maybe what has changed in our community. But regardless, the community capital improvement project tax passed 42,000 to 12,000. So, with flying colors, that will build out a bike park. $5 million, I think, is earmarked for that, as well as a $4 million outdoor pickleball facility, which I believe is going to be near or in Fossil Creek Park, which is right by my house. So I might have to start playing pickleball. I don't know. There were some charter amendments, just cleaning up some language, all of them, but 2F passed. 2H versus 303, which was difficult. My wife even asked me, she goes, these are the same thing, aren't they? 2H and 303, which it doesn't ultimately matter because 2H passed with 36,000 yes votes to 17,000 no votes. And 303 actually fell with more no votes than yes votes. So technically it doesn't matter. Even if there was confusion, people did not want to keep it all natural. They did want to use the multi-use. But if they both passed, the one with the more yes votes would have been the winner. So 2H had more yes votes and passed comparatively to 303. Had more no votes, so it didn't have more yes votes clearly and would not have won out. 302, the natural area sales tax, indefinitely passed, pretty with flying colors too. So I was one of the minority voters on that. I'm not against it by any means. I just like the idea of having a bill sunset and getting to vote on it again in the future. Ballot issues, the transportation funding tax, that was a 15-cent sales tax, failed very narrowly. 68,000 no votes to 62,000 roughly yes votes. The child care sales tax passed narrowly. 67,000 yes votes to 63,000 no votes. Proposition LL and MM, which essentially kept taxes or taxed those making $300,000 or more in Colorado to help healthy foods and increase meals for those in need, both passed pretty significantly. And then on the school district, Thompson Valley got a bond approved for up to $99 million in funding. And then finally, the town of Timnath, they passed a 1.25% sales tax for a new recreation center in Timnath. Southeast Fort Collins abuts Timnath, and there's going to be two $100 million facilities there in the very near future. So plenty of recreation. I mean, I go to Genesis and I love going to Genesis. I have a ton of friends going to Genesis as far as where I work out. But I mean, I'm paying for it in my sales tax. Maybe I need to go support the community center gym. I don't know. You tell me, what would you do? I mean, I do. I love Genesis, cold plunge, saunas, all those kind of amenities, benefits are really nice to have. City Council did meet. They met the day before the election, and they went over 4 discussion items, among other consent items. But the 4 that I wanted to talk about today was the capital and transportation expansion fees. Both passed, so we will see some increases on those fees for builders, sooner than later. So will buying a new build get more expensive? Yes, in 3 to 5 years. That's how long it'll take for this to kind of have an impact. But maybe it won't. Who knows? Tree policy. There was 5 amendments. 2 of them got delayed because the development community was like, hey, listen, and commercial community is like, hey, we love trees. We want to support trees. We want to protect trees, but we need to have a ending date of what we need to do. And the bill would have required a 3-year escrow, and how that would have worked would have been a little bit confusing. So they delayed that vote. But ultimately, the tree policy, the idea there is to put some parameters around and permitting requirements on commercial users on removal of trees and developers, what kind of that looks like of tree replacement and saving trees. The 2026 annual city budget got voted on. The first first reading, there was, about, I think it was like $15 million off the top of my head, had to be removed from the budget to make up for the shortfall in sales tax this year, as well as 2026 shortfalls. A lot of that was salaries, city, nothing of massive note. They are on a hiring freeze at the city of Fort Collins. And so we'll see how that goes. Montava got approved for additional debt financing through their metro district to $297 million. Hopefully we'll start to see that project go vertical sooner than later. They've got all of their money situated, so to speak. They are going to begin the groundwork, infrastructure, and so hopefully, and they already have, but hopefully we start to see that go vertical. As far as things to do this week, it is Veterans Day. So if you are a veteran, I salute you. Thank you for your service, keeping our country free, and all of the great, wonderful things that we get to enjoy on a day-to-day basis. So thank you. CSU basketball game this Wednesday against Cal Poly at 7 p.m. Dude, we're 2-0. The Ali Farouk Namesh era has begun, and he is doing some good things. 10-year anniversary party for the Wolverine Farm. Grace Gallagher at CSU, her dance, the Sharon Prize, Colorado. There is no Planet B. That is November 21st and 22nd at the University Center for the Arts. So if you want to go support local artists, make sure to go check that out. Otterbox and Topo Designs are doing a launch party November 13th. I've seen Topo Designs. They must have like a licensing agreement with the Broncos. Some of their stuff is just pretty sweet. Dr. Kaboom this Sunday at the Lincoln Center, 2 p.m. Every Saturday, Winners Farmers Market, 10 to 2 p.m. at the Foothills Mall. George Lopez is in Greeley this week, November 14th. I've never been a huge George Lopez fan, but, hey, listen, he's a very successful comedian, and he's out in our backyard in Greeley. So that is the November 14th at 7:30 p.m. Go check out the Colorado Eagles playing November 15th at Blue Arena. They're only there for probably a couple more years before they find their new home at Cascadia, which we will see if that ever becomes more than just a hockey rink. And that's about it for things to do this week. We like to keep it around 15 minutes. We're right around 18 minutes. So we will call it a day. I thank you for watching, and have a great day.